Another big night in the WNBA as the Indiana Fever go head-to-head with the Washington Mystics. All eyes are on Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston. Caitlin Clark was out of the lineup. With Clark sidelined, all eyes turned to Aliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and the rest of the Fever roster to see how they'd respond without their floor general. The opening quarter started with a strong statement from the Indiana Fever. NaLyssa Howard attacked the lane with power, finishing a tough driving layup to put Indiana on the board first. Moments later, S. Colson added to the momentum, draining a smooth step-back jump shot, showing early confidence from mid-range. But the Washington Mystics didn't take long to respond. Kiki Ariafen powered her way to the rim for a clean-cutting layup, putting Washington in rhythm. Indiana answered back quickly though, as Lexi Hull splashed a three-pointer from the wing, keeping the energy high for the home team. Howard continued her aggressive start, this time slicing through the defense for another layup. The Mystics turned to Shakira Austin, who countered with a strong driving layup, battling back to keep the game close. Next it was Sonia Citron, who stepped up for the Mystics, gliding to the rim for a quick transition layup. The Fever didn't let up. Howard came right back with a smooth floating jump shot, showing off her versatility. But Austin wasn't done yet. She muscled in another driving finish to keep the pressure on Indiana's defense. The quarter became a back-and-forth showcase. Howard cleaned up a missed shot with a putback layup, dominating the paint early. Citron fired back with another driving layup, and Ariafen followed it up by carving through the defense for her own drive to the basket. Just when Washington was gaining ground, DeWanna Bonner made her presence felt. She surged to the rim with a driving layup, then followed it up with a clutch three-pointer that fired up the crowd. But the Mystics weren't backing down. Emily Engstler knocked down a huge three-pointer from deep. End of the first quarter, Indiana Fever 23, Washington Mystics 19. The second quarter opened with Shakira Austin continuing her dominant presence in the paint, starting things off for the Mystics with a strong layup. But DeWanna Bonner, always reliable, answered for Indiana with a smooth pull-up jump shot, maintaining the Fever's intensity. Austin came right back, showcasing her versatility by draining a turnaround fadeaway jump shot, keeping the scoreboard ticking for Washington. Aliyah Boston wasn't about to let that momentum swing too far. She drove inside and finished with a tough layup, showing power in the paint. Stephanie Dolson got involved next for the Mystics, slicing through the defense for a clean-cutting layup. Austin once again asserted herself with a confident pull-up jumper, continuing her stellar quarter, but Indiana had a response. Kelsey Mitchell surged through the lane for a quick driving layup, flashing her trademark speed. Jade Edwards made her mark for Washington shortly after, cleaning up a miss with a gritty putback layup to reclaim some energy for the Mystics. Then came a huge moment. Brittany Sykes knocked down a big three-pointer, shifting momentum briefly in Washington's favor, but Christy Melbourne kept Indiana focused with a determined driving layup, closing the gap again. NaLyssa Howard followed it up with a smooth cutting layup, taking advantage of a defensive lapse. Sykes came back at Indiana with a beautiful turnaround fadeaway jumper, adding to her growing confidence. The Mystics then leaned on their depth. Dantas hit a well-executed turnaround jump shot, and Jay Sutton followed it up with a quick driving layup, catching the Fever defense off guard. To close the quarter strong, Sonia Citron stepped up for Washington. She delivered back-to-back cutting layups, slashing through the Fever's interior defense and giving the Mystics a late push before halftime. End of the second quarter, Indiana Fever 40, Washington Mystics 44. The second half kicked off with Kiki Ariafen making her presence felt right away. She crashed the glass and converted a putback layup, giving the Mystics an early spark. She wasn't done yet. On the very next possession, she slithered through Indiana's defense and finished a tough driving reverse layup, showing her finesse and footwork in the paint. But the Fever weren't going down quietly. Aliyah Boston, always strong on the boards, fought for position and got a putback layup of her own, answering the call for Indiana. Then came Kelsey Mitchell, heating up yet again. She stepped into a confident three-point jump shot, cutting the Mystics' momentum and keeping Indiana in striking distance. Brittany Sykes, playing with aggression, responded with a quick cutting layup, getting behind the defense with a slick move. But Boston fired right back, muscling her way into the lane and finishing with a driving hook shot, once again showing off her inside dominance. Sykes kept her foot on the gas, grabbing a second chance opportunity and converting a tough putback layup, helping the Mystics stay out front. That's when Julie Olsen Boston got going. She hit a beautiful running three-point jump shot, electrifying the Mystics bench. But right on cue, Mitchell answered with a deadly step-back three-pointer, proving why she's one of the most dangerous perimeter threats in the league. Olsen came back down and hit a smooth jump shot, keeping the Fever defense on its heels. Then, to cap off the quarter's action, Lexi Hull spun into a silky turnaround fadeaway jumper, showing off her skill and body control in a tough one-on-one matchup. End of the third quarter, Indiana Fever 53, Washington Mystics 60. Damaris Dantas got things going for the Mystics with a tough turnaround bank shot, showcasing her veteran footwork and soft touch off the glass. The Fever, however, weren't backing down. Lexi Hull, who had been impactful throughout the night, drove fearlessly to the rim and converted a high-speed driving layup, slicing through defenders to bring the Fever closer. But the Mystics answered immediately. Sonia Citron, rising in confidence, created space and nailed a turnaround jump shot, silencing the Indiana crowd momentarily. Then came the spark from the Fever. Dewana Bonner, using her experience and agility, knifed through the defense for a crafty driving layup, reminding everyone why she's one of the most reliable scorers on the team. The Mystics weren't done though. Kiki Iriafen, an absolute force in this game, caught fire. First, she powered through defenders for a putback layup, showing hustle and dominance on the glass. Then she followed it up with a running layup on the break, catching Indiana off guard. Not long after, she executed a textbook cutting layup, finishing through contact and swinging momentum heavily in Washington's favor. Indiana needed an answer, and they turned to their star in the post. Aliyah Boston, always dependable, backed down her defender and hit a turnaround hook shot with finesse. It was a strong response to stop the bleeding and give Indiana a chance, but Washington stayed aggressive. Brittany Sykes drove into the paint and knocked down a difficult driving layup using her speed and body control. Then, Sid Colson followed with another aggressive driving layup, weaving through defenders to finish with her left. Just when it looked like the Fever might fade, Sykes struck again, this time getting all the way to the rim for another driving layup, putting pressure on Indiana's interior defense. Time was running out, but Kelsey Mitchell, as she's done so many times, turned up the heat. She attacked with urgency and powered in a driving layup, cutting through traffic with intensity and keeping hope alive for the Fever in the closing seconds. Final buzzer sounds, and the Indiana Fever walk off the court with another tough loss, this time to the Washington Mystics. But the game slipped away in the final moments, not because of lack of effort, but because of the little things. Second chance points, defensive lapses, and a red-hot Kiki Iriafen and Brittany Sykes who simply refused to let the Mystics fall. This one hurts for the Fever, no doubt about it. It was a winnable game, a chance to flip the script, and while the final score shows a loss, the fight they showed tonight can't be ignored. This young team is learning, growing, and taking lumps, but every tough night like this builds the fire for what's coming. So what did you think of tonight's performance? Was it execution, effort, or just the wrong matchups? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading all of them. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. Because win or lose, we ride with the Fever. Until next time, keep the energy high, stay passionate, and never stop believing.